Welcome to a very important meeting. It is called the G7 Summit. This year, in June 2025, the meeting is in Kananaskis, Canada. This place is a beautiful area with mountains. Leaders from 7 large and strong countries come here. These countries are Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These are some of the world's biggest economies. Also, the leader from the European Union comes to the summit. They all meet together for about 3 days. Why do these important people meet? They meet to talk about the biggest problems in the world today. These are problems that need countries to work together. These problems affect many people in many parts of the world. Canada is the host country this year. The leader of Canada is the host. His name is Mark Carney. He is the new Prime Minister of Canada. Mr. Carney has 3 main ideas or goals for this meeting. His first goal is to talk about protecting people and communities. This means keeping people safe. It includes discussing world peace and security. It also means helping places that have bad events, like large wildfires, which are happening more often because of climate change. Mr. Carney's second goal is about security for energy and the digital world. Energy is very important for countries to work. They need safe and reliable energy sources. The digital world means computers, the internet, and new technologies like artificial intelligence, AI. It is important to make sure this digital world is safe and helps the economy grow. The third main goal for the summit is to make strong partnerships for the future. This means countries working together more. It includes finding ways to invest money in important projects in different countries. It is also about helping businesses trade more easily and creating good jobs for people. Canada wants to build strong relationships with other countries. Right now, the world has many difficult situations. There is still a war happening in Ukraine. This is a big challenge for peace in Europe and the world. There are also new rules for trade between countries. The President of the United States is Donald Trump. He has introduced some new trade policies that make many countries around the world worried. These policies can make buying and selling goods more difficult. Climate change is causing more extreme weather, like very large wildfires. New technologies like AI are changing how people live and work very quickly. There are also conflicts and political problems in different areas of the world. So, this meeting, the G7 Summit in Kananaskis, is very important for the leaders of these countries. They must come together to discuss these many difficult problems. They must try to find ways to agree on what actions to take. The goal is for them to work together. They want to show unity and decide on things that can help make the world safer, more stable, and better for everyone who lives in it. This summit is a chance for leading countries to face the biggest challenges together. 2. What is the G7? The Group of Seven, or G7, is a special meeting of leaders from some of the world's big countries. It started a long time ago, in 1975. At that time, there were only 6 countries, so it was called the Group of Six. The first countries were France, West Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. They came together because the world economy had problems, like a big oil crisis that made prices go up. The leaders wanted to talk about these money problems and find ways to fix them together. They hoped to make trade and money systems more stable. 1 year later, in 1976, another important country joined the group, Canada. With Canada, the group had 7 members, and it became known as the G7. In the beginning, the main focus was on economic issues. They talked about how economies were doing, how to control prices, and how countries could trade fairly. But as the years went by, the world changed, and the G7 started discussing many more global challenges. They began talking about how to help countries that needed support, how to improve security around the world, and later, big issues like climate change. They discuss a wide range of topics now, much more than just money. The leaders of the 7 countries meet once a year. Also, the European Union, which represents many European nations, is invited to the meetings. For a period of time, from 1998, the group included Russia. It became the G8. But in 2014, Russia was removed from the group. This happened after Russia took control of a part of Ukraine called Crimea. So, the group became the G7 again, and Russia is not a member today. The job of hosting the G7 meeting moves to a different member country every year. The country that hosts the meeting gets to set the main topics for discussion. The G7 includes countries with strong economies and democratic governments. However, some people say the G7 is not as important as it used to be. They point out that it does not include big, growing economies like China or India, which are now very powerful in the world. These critics also say the G7 does not have official power to make countries follow rules. It's just a meeting for talking and trying to agree. But many people still think the G7 is very important. The countries in the G7 still have huge economies and a lot of influence. By talking and working together, they can still make a big difference in dealing with global problems and guiding international discussions. 3. The Big Meeting Plan. The meeting in Kananaskis in 2025 happens during a difficult time for the world. Things are not calm in many places. Donald Trump is back as the President of the United States, and this is real. His trade ideas are called America First. These ideas make trade hard for some countries. The war in Ukraine is still happening. Leaders are also worried about China and problems in the Middle East. Canada is the host country. The Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, made a plan for the meeting. He has 3 main goals, or core missions. The first goal is protecting communities and the world. This means working for peace and safety. It also means helping with big problems like wildfires. The second goal is building energy security and a digital economy. Energy security is about having enough energy. The digital economy is about new technology like computers and the Internet. This goal includes talking about important minerals and new things like artificial intelligence. The third goal is securing future partnerships. This means working with other countries. It is about helping businesses grow, making jobs, and having open markets where countries can trade easily. Many leaders from other countries are invited to this G7 meeting, not just the 7 main ones and the European Union. They come to talk about these big world problems. For example, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, is a guest. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, is also invited. President Claudia Sheinbaum from Mexico is a guest too. These extra guests help make the talks bigger and include more parts of the world. The G7 wants to work together strongly at this important time. 4. Money and shopping. The global economy is a very big and important topic for the G7 leaders. They think about how money moves between countries and how people buy things. Right now, the world economy is growing slower than before. Also, prices for many things are higher, which is a problem for many people. A main worry for the G7 countries is new taxes on goods that cross borders. These taxes are called tariffs. President Donald Trump of the United States has put these taxes on things like steel and aluminum from other countries. This makes these goods more expensive in the U.S. Other G7 countries like Japan, the United Kingdom, and the European Union do not like these tariffs. They are talking with the U.S. to try and remove them and stop a bigger trade fight. Before the main meeting, the G7 finance ministers met. These are the people in charge of money in each country. They talked about problems in the global economy, like some countries selling much more than they buy from others. They agreed they need to work together on these issues. They also talked about making supply chains stronger. This means making sure countries can get important goods like parts for computers or materials for batteries without problems. They want to make sure trade rules are fair for everyone. They looked at trade practices, especially some from China, to make sure they are fair and do not hurt other countries. Their main goal is to help the world economy stay strong and grow steadily. They want to find ways to solve problems together. Even though there are disagreements, like about President Trump's tariffs, the finance ministers said they found ways to work together on important global money issues. Talking about money and trade is a big part of the G7 meeting. Leaders from different countries will try to find ways to keep the economy stable, help businesses, and make sure people can buy the things they need without prices being too high. They know that problems in one country can quickly affect others, so working together is important. 5. Keeping peace. The war in Ukraine is a very important topic at the G7 meeting. Ukraine's president, Mr. Zelensky, is at the summit. He wants more help for his country. He will ask for more money and more weapons. He also wants the G7 countries to be tougher on Russia. This means more rules against Russia, known as sanctions. Leaders from Europe strongly agree. They want hard rules. The European Union has already put in place many sanctions. They want to add more. They want to stop Russia from making so much money from oil and gas. They are pushing for the G7 to lower the price Russia can sell its oil for. The EU suggests a price like $45 for a barrel. Mr. Zelensky wants an even lower price, perhaps $30. This would hurt Russia's economy more. The position of the United States is very important for the G7. The G7 needs all 7 countries to agree to be strong together. President Donald Trump's ideas on this issue will affect what the G7 decides. The leaders want to show a united front on supporting Ukraine and putting pressure on Russia. Keeping this unity is key for the G7's strength on the world stage. But the G7 leaders do not only talk about Ukraine. They also discuss other security problems in the world. One area is the Indo-Pacific region. This is where countries like China and Taiwan are. There are tensions there, and the G7 leaders are concerned about stability. Another important area is the Middle East, where there have been recent conflicts between countries. The G7 discusses how to manage these difficult situations and prevent them from getting worse. The G7 aims to show that they stand together on global peace and security issues. It can be hard to agree on everything. Different countries have different ideas and national interests. But keeping the group united is a big goal. They want to send a strong message that they care about peace and stability around the world. They know that problems in one part of the world can quickly affect other parts, impacting everyone's safety. Sometimes the language they use in their official statements is important. For example, how they talk about Russia's actions. Some want to use very strong words, like describing it as illegal aggression. Others may prefer softer words, like calling the war brutal. Finding words everyone can agree on is part of the challenging work at the summit. For some leaders, just keeping the current level of military and financial help for Ukraine is seen as a success, given the challenges. Getting big new promises can be difficult. They hope the United States and Europe can keep working together closely on rules against Russia. This close cooperation is sometimes called parallel movement, meaning they act at the same time with similar steps. Showing strength and unity is important to the G7. They believe this is the only way to deal with countries that use force to get what they want. The meeting is a chance for them to talk and try to agree on the best way to keep peace in a difficult world. Their decisions here can influence events far beyond the meeting room. 6. Our world and new ideas. Climate change is a very important problem for our world today. We see its effects in many places. For example, in Canada, where the G7 meeting is happening, there are many big wildfires causing a lot of damage. These fires show everyone that the climate is changing, and we must do something about it urgently. The G7 leaders know they have to talk about the environment and how it is changing. One part of the meeting plan is about energy security. This means making sure countries have enough energy for everyone. They want energy to be safe, dependable, and not too expensive for people and businesses. This topic is closely linked to climate change because many energy sources like coal, oil, and gas affect the climate. The leaders will also discuss how to work together better when there are natural problems like big wildfires or floods. This is part of keeping people and communities safe. Some people and groups outside the summit are asking the G7 to take stronger action on climate change. They want the leaders to make bigger promises and plans to reduce pollution that causes climate change. They believe countries should stop using fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas faster than planned. However, leaders also need to think about how these changes affect jobs and the cost of energy for everyone today. This makes decisions difficult. Another very big topic at the summit is new ideas and technology. Technology is changing the world very, very quickly. Artificial intelligence, often called AI, is one of the most important new technologies today. Quantum computing is another new area that is developing fast and could change many things. The G7 leaders see these new technologies as big opportunities. They believe AI and quantum computing can help countries' economies grow stronger. They hope these technologies will create new jobs and make life better for people. But the leaders also understand that these powerful new technologies need clear rules.
It is important to have rules to make sure AI and other technologies are used safely and fairly for everyone. The leaders will talk about keeping things safe on the Internet. This is a big part of security now and is called cybersecurity. They will also discuss how people buy and sell things and information online. This is called digital trade. They want to make sure digital trade is open and fair for all countries and companies.
Making sure that one or two very big technology companies do not have too much power and stop smaller companies from succeeding is also on the agenda. This is about fair competition in the digital world. Finally, getting the right natural materials, like special minerals, is important. These minerals are needed to make new technology and clean energy equipment, like batteries for electric cars. Talking about securing the supply of these critical minerals is part of their energy and technology discussions. So, the G7 leaders are discussing how our world is changing in two main ways: because of climate change and because of new ideas in technology. They are trying to find ways for their countries to work together on these big global challenges. Finding solutions for fighting climate change and managing the fast growth of new technology are important steps for building a good future for everyone. The summit in Kananaskis is a place where they can share their ideas and try to agree on the best actions to take for the world. This meeting is important to show they are thinking about the future and trying to work as one group on these issues. 7. Staying healthy and strong. Energy security is a very important subject for all countries in the G7. It is linked to how the world does business and how safe countries feel in difficult times. The war in Ukraine has caused big problems for energy supplies around the world. Many countries in Europe, for example, needed energy from Russia, like gas pipelines. Now, G7 nations want energy supplies that are stable, reliable, and that people and businesses can afford easily. This is a major goal of the summit discussions. To achieve this, G7 countries are looking for energy from many different places, not just one. This helps them not depend too much on a single country for gas or oil, making them less open to pressure. They are also putting more money and effort into clean energy sources. This means power from the sun, wind, and water. Building more clean energy helps the planet fight climate change and also makes energy supply safer and more local for the country. Another key thing for new energy technology is special minerals, sometimes called critical minerals. These minerals, like lithium, are needed to make things like batteries for electric cars and other future technology.
Making sure there are enough of these minerals and that countries can get them easily from reliable places around the world is a big part of energy security plans today.
Leaders may talk about how to work together on finding and using these minerals. Global health is another big topic discussed by the G7 leaders during the summit. The COVID-19 pandemic showed everyone how quickly sickness can spread across borders and how important it is to be ready for big health problems that affect the whole world. Leaders will discuss how to work together better if a new sickness comes around in the future. There is a new plan, a treaty from the World Health Organization, WHO, designed to help countries prepare for and respond to pandemics. This plan helps countries share information and tools to fight sickness together. While the United States under President Donald Trump is not part of this specific WHO treaty, the G7 leaders might still talk about and support the general goals of global health security for everyone. They also want to make health systems stronger around the world, especially in poorer countries. This means having better hospitals, more doctors and nurses, and good ways to find sicknesses early. Making sure everyone can get vaccines when they need them is also talked about. This is about sharing vaccines fairly and helping countries make their own vaccines locally. Putting money into health research is important too. This helps scientists find new medicines, treatments, and ways to stop sicknesses faster and better in the future. By working together on global health, countries can be more ready for anything and stay strong. Energy security and global health are key parts of keeping G7 nations and the world safe and strong for the future. 8. The summit ends. The big meeting of G7 leaders in Kananaskis, Canada, has now finished. Leaders from the 7 most advanced economies and the European Union met for 2 full days of important talks. They came together at a time when the world has many difficult challenges. This made the summit very important. These leaders wanted to show that countries that believe in democracy and freedom can work together to help the world. Showing unity was a key goal. They aimed to show they have a strong purpose to make things better for people everywhere. During the summit, the G7 leaders discussed many big global problems. They talked about the world economy and making sure countries can trade fairly with each other. Policies from U.S. President Donald Trump about trade were a specific point of discussion. They also spent time on keeping peace and security around the world. The ongoing war in Ukraine and how the G7 can continue support was a major topic. They looked at other security worries in different regions of the world too, discussing how to prevent problems. Protecting our planet was very important. Leaders spoke about climate change and how it causes serious problems, like the terrible wildfires happening in Canada right now. Finding safe and stable energy supplies for the future was also high on the agenda. New technologies, like artificial intelligence, AI, were a big subject because they are changing our lives very fast. Leaders need to think carefully about how these new tools will change society and how to make good rules for them. Finally, global health was discussed, focusing on how to be ready for future sicknesses around the world and make sure everyone is healthy. The meeting in Kananaskis was a significant test for the G7 group. Can these powerful countries truly work together effectively when facing so many problems at once? The leaders finished their talks and put their agreements and plans into a final document that the world will read. But for many people around the world, the most important outcome is still ahead. The real success of the summit depends completely on the actions the leaders take after they go home from Canada. Will they follow through on the promises they made at the summit? Will they make real changes that help solve the big global problems they talked about for 2 days? Many people are watching the G7 closely now. They want to see if this group of rich and powerful countries can still make a big difference in the world and solve problems. People want to know if the G7 remains a relevant and strong voice for global cooperation and progress. The summit meeting is over now, but the hard work of putting plans into action has just begun for the leaders. Only time and their future actions will show the true value of the Kananaskis Summit. What big global problem do you think the G7 countries should try to fix first after this summit?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.